Hey, how's it going? It is Monday, June 15th, and this is the Morning Star Drive on 117.8. We're on YouTube, so make sure to subscribe, follow us on SoundCloud, and support us on Patreon. Today we'll get some coronavirus updates. The plague of locusts are hitting Africa, India, Pakistan in biblical proportions, and a look into the Sunday message. So, how you guys doing? You guys must have had a busy and great weekend. Me too. We've been busy all over the weekend, all from last week. Last Thursday, we had the Bubble Talk, and we talked about how to stay consistent. Go check that out on the Espresso with Sky YouTube channel. And we definitely encourage you to check out the live Bubble Talks and Lockdown Tuesdays, every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Malaysia time, live streaming on both YouTube and Facebook. Yesterday was the Sunday edition, and we interviewed a member from Germany, Lilia Hamann. She's currently a YouTuber. She got 2 channels. She does face painting. She used to live in Korea, and she just lived and learned from the Lord. So make sure you check it out on the Sunday edition. Just amazing interview. Big shout out to the Golden City Brides, Jocelyn Sin from Singapore, Heidi Gayab from LA, and Dabil and Brian from Hawaii for supporting us on Patreon. And if you want to support us too, then check out the Patreon link in the description. And if you're on SoundCloud, click the blue button on my homepage. So, let's move on to the featured artist of the day. Today's featured artist is Francis Han from New York. He's a Taiwanese, he's Taiwanese in New York. He got his PhD in classical piano. He's got his master's in jazz. This is going to be a live recording that he did at the World Jazz Quintet. And it was recorded live at the Queensboro Performing Arts Center in 2017. And yes, our very own Francis Han is the one on the piano. Amazing and awesome. You guys just got to listen to it and get into the groove. The song is called One's Way Back. The second song is from Sungbeat, the ever-popular single, I'll Run. So everyone, sit back, relax, and let's just enjoy this time listening to the amazing music made by our members.
Oh, Trinity, you fulfilled everything. It was so difficult, we'll never know what you went through, but even so, we praise you and will amaze you as we testify so people learn the truth and realize what you have really gone through. We'll preach till everyone on earth has heard the story of how you fulfilled your purpose until they offer glory. Just as you give to us, see what we've done, so we'll give to you, cause you've overcome. We will offer you praise, cause this history is won. 6,000 years you persevered, now the rapture's begun. Trinity, I'm so thankful I could see the day you raptured all our spirits up to you. I have experienced it, I know it's true. I've seen it, I have received it. Now I will testify so people learn the truth and realize how much you really do. I'll preach till everyone on earth has heard the story of how you fulfilled your purpose until they offer glory. Just as you give to us, seeing what we've done, so we'll give to you, cause you overcome. We will offer you praise, cause this history is won. 6,000 years persevered, now the rapture has begun. Just as you've chosen me out of everyone, now I will love you alone, I won't be undone. I'll take your thoughts as my head, make our purpose one, and I will stay till the end. I will always run, I'll run. I'll run, because you've overcome, because this history has won. Just as you give to us, see what we've done, so we'll give to you, cause you've overcome. We will offer you praise, cause this history is won. 6,000 years persevered, now the rapture's begun. Just as you've chosen me out of everyone, I will love you alone, I won't be undone. I'll take your thoughts as my head, make our purpose one, and I will stay till the end, I will always run.
And that is I'll Run from Sung Beats. I hope you guys enjoyed that song. And that first one is from our very own Francis Han, the featured artist of the day. And that song was, what was it called? It's called One's Way Back. And that was a live recording from the Queensboro Performing Arts Center in New York. And it's amazing that we have these professional musicians and artists in this history. And it's just amazing to hear this music that's made with, the inspiration coming from this history. So I hope you guys enjoyed those two songs, and it brings us into a very good section. We're going to get some world news and some coronavirus update. So let's get into this. In the world right now, there's already 7.9 million cases. Or we're probably going to be hitting 8 million probably within the next 2 days. 433,000 deaths. And once again, like I said before, this mortality rate is going down and down. It's 5.49%. Okay, now interesting thing is the U.S. dropped like heavily in their mortality rate. They're exactly the same now. They were higher than the global average on Friday, but it looks like now they're the same. They're both at 5.49%. So U.S. is at 2.14 million cases, 117,000 deaths, right? Brazil, 850,000 cases, 43,000 deaths, and they went down again too. As bad as it sounds, like they have all these deaths happening, they're at 5.03%. And of course, they hit the 40,000 death milestone, and now they're second deaths in all the world. They just overtook the UK. India's at 322,000 cases, 9,200 deaths, 2.86%. Peru's at 225,000 cases, 6,500 deaths at 2.9%. Chile's at 167,000 cases, 3,100 deaths, 1.85%. Pakistan's at 139,000 cases, 2,600 deaths at 1.9%. And the Philippines at 25,000 cases, 1,000 deaths. They're still around 1,000 deaths and at 4.23%, so it's not that bad at all. And Belgium, the highest mortality rate in the world, still dropping, and they're at 16.11%. Just some interesting notes to look at is just yesterday, the U.S. had about 25,000 cases, and they're still at a 1% increase per day. Brazil dropped a lot because they were running 30,000 people for 2-3 days straight. And yesterday it was down to 21,000 at a 4% rate. India's at 8,700 cases with 4% increase. Chile's at 6,500 cases in a day with 4% increase. And Pakistan also 6,500 cases and 5% increase. We had Brazil with one of the largest death tolls in a day. I believe they had over 1,200 deaths in a day. So it's huge for Brazil, which means that, like we said before, they hit the 40,000 death milestone, and they now overtook the UK when it comes to deaths. So that's going to bring us into the coronavirus talk for the day. And this is something else that I really want to talk about last week too. But of course, there's just too many things going on at the same time. Like if we were going to talk about these last 5 months, no one would have thought all these things would happen at the exact same time. It is crazy when you think about it. It really is. You think, when the news comes out, it's you don't see all these things happening. It's nuts. It really is. Because it started with the pandemic, and then we have the riots in Hong Kong, and China's taking over Hong Kong. So we have those problems over there. And then we have the U.S., social injustice, protesting. I don't know, guys, if you guys heard the news in America, it's crazy. It doesn't even sound like a free country anymore. It's nuts over there. I was looking at some of the news, and it's kind of ridiculous, some of the things that are happening over there. I don't understand how the government allows that stuff to happen. But yeah, we'll go over that another time during this week. But today I want to focus on something that's very biblical. It's the plague of locusts. Right, the plague of locusts in the Bible, it must have been the third or fourth plague when Moses came to free the people from Egypt. This plague is not freeing anyone. It's just a plague, basically. It's basically, in the time of judgment, this is probably a huge judgment. And the locust plague is happening right now near Pakistan, in Pakistan and India. Before it was in Africa too. And it's crazy. This is something that happens a lot all the time, but it's supposed to be huge this year. Millions and millions of locusts have come at such a critical time, and it's been in Pakistan and India since the end of May. And this, they said, is 1,000 times more dangerous than coronavirus. Wow, what can be 1,000 times more dangerous? Well, because the amount of deaths it's going to cause is going to be way more. So when you think about the coronavirus isn't affecting farmers. The farmers aren't not producing crops. The locusts are eating up everything. No one's going to bed hungry because of the coronavirus, because at least there's food. But now they say the locusts could damage about $5 billion in agriculture. And these 2 weeks in June, we just passed, these 2 weeks are supposed to be the most crucial weeks, because the great bulk of locusts will come to Pakistan and India in these first 2 weeks. Desperate farmers trying to drive the locusts away with noise or pesticides, but you know that it's not a like a advanced nation, so they don't have all these planes that can do it. And right now, it is breeding season for the locust, so it's pretty bad. India's northern and central states, the problem is that they're eating the leaves of the crops, and it's also hurting the animals too. Because you got to think about it, the animals are eating the leaves, but now there's no leaves because all the locusts are eating them, right? And what happens is it hurts the animals in another way where if the locusts eat it first, then it brings some type of disease into the animals that eat the same leaves. So there's another problem. And then on top of it, they said that one of the reasons why the locust surge is so huge because of the erratic weather that's happening first in Africa. So it first started in East Africa, and in the past they were able to control the plague of locusts, right? But this lockdown, one of the problems is the lockdown that happened because of the pandemic. There's a curfew. So because of the curfew, like these farmers can't go out and spray pesticides. So these locusts, they basically look like grasshoppers. You have to understand how big it is. Like each swarm of locusts contains hundreds of millions of insects. Not just locusts, insects altogether, hundreds of millions of them. And what's happening right now during the pandemic, during this time of 5 months of judgment, is supposed to be the worst outbreak in decades. Right? So there's already severe crisis because of the pandemic, but now you're adding on top of it a food shortage, and the locusts are eating everything. Right? One of the issues that are dealing with right now is a climate crisis. The seas are warmer. Because the seas are warmer, there's more cyclones, and it becomes a perfect breeding ground for these locusts, right? And you got to know like some of the stats on these locusts. It's just ridiculous how big it is. Okay, just a medium swarm. Okay, we're not talking even a large swarm. Like these are just medium swarms, can cover land the size of the entire island of Manhattan. And these swarms can eat the same amount of food as the entire population of Kenya. So you gotta think about this. If they can eat the entire population of Kenya, that's the same of eating, if you're in America, it's the same as the tri-state area. New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania, that's what these swarms can eat. The same as the entire tri-state area, all of Kenya. Which means that if you think about this, this is so scary. That one swarm, that medium swarm of locusts can eat enough food for 35,000 people per day. Now, to stop them, the aerial spraying is supposed to be the easiest. And most of these countries don't have these planes. It's either that or it's too dangerous, because the airspace is dangerous because, government or the army, military, those types of things going on, like especially in like India and Pakistan. They said it's too dangerous to fly. So, the big risk that was happening just 2 weeks earlier was the Horn of Africa, right? But now this from East Africa is expanding to North Africa, Southwest, and all the way up to Southwest Asia. And, when we're talking about Africa, like East Africa, that was like at the end of February. That's when it started, and is still going right now. It was just completely ravaging all of East Africa, moving into North Africa, and then into Southwest Asia, which is happening right now. So, if you get into the news, it's pretty crazy, the types of things that are happening. And it's kind of like scary, and like scary in a way like Sunstein talked about this. Like he literally talked about this, and it's actually happening. And we thought to ourselves, nah, it's only the pandemic, it's slowing down, whatever. With the pandemic, it is crazy right now. All the civil unrest, locust infestations, all right, China taking over Hong Kong, fighting with Taiwan, and then the economies are all breaking down. It's just so many different things when we look at it. It is crazy what is happening. So I really hope that as we get more information and we understand what is happening, we will know better how to pray for the situation. And it's very serious right now. And even though we may not be in America where that's happening, or we may not be in Hong Kong, but we have members there. We have members in America. We do, and it's something that we are the ones that have the responsibility to pray for this world. So I hope that knowing this, getting this knowledge too, is going to help us a lot more when it comes to us really being able to pray for the world properly. Okay, so that brings us into the praise section for today. Today's praise section, we're going to listen to two songs. We're going to listen to a nice, fun song, and then we're going to, right after that, a really deep song. So the first song we're going to listen to is Come to the New History. Really fun, upbeat song. The second song, deep, shimjonic song, I Have Found My Love. So let's enjoy and praise and sing together to the Holy Trinity.
You know the truth, you know the times, you who've learned and follow the Lord. Go out and preach, witness for Him, boldly preach the word. God fulfilled what He desired through this rapture history. So today we're with our Lord, laughing with Him, sharing this joy. I won't change, I'll take this path, rapture into heaven above. Everyone come with me to the golden city on earth. Hear the rapture's trumpet call. Now as we preach, we'll rejoice and live with the Lord. Hallelujah, hallelujah, amen. Our Holy Son came to this earth. For 1,000 years we'll rejoice. Everyone living on earth comes to seek the Lord all the time. Chosen ones, hurry, come join. Rapture has begun on the earth. When night falls in one young dawn, when the full moon lights up the sky. Please sit with us, open your heart, share the stories of the past. All of your people sing praise, all the brides who raptured rejoice. We'll rejoice 1,000 years, one with the Lord, now forever. Hallelujah, 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 amen. I won't change, I'll take this path, rapture into heaven above. Everyone come with me to the golden city on earth. I won't change, I'll take this path, rapture into heaven above. Everyone come with me to the golden city on earth. Hear the rapture's trumpet call. Now as we preach, we'll rejoice and live with the Lord. Hallelujah, hallelujah, amen.
Now the time's come, I must go to a far land. I must leave now.
He has gone away, I've waited so long, still he's not back. Drifting o'er mountains and seas, I hear mere rumors of him. have waited ages, it seems, yet I have seen nothing of him. I will seek him out. I must go. I will seek him out. I must go. I have traveled thousands of miles, asking if anyone has seen him at all. I've asked everyone, but no one has seen him. North and south, east, west, I have searched them all. Breathless, anxiously calling him. Then I was guided somewhere unknown by the Spirit and Son. There he was alone out of sight, where the waves cast him, waves of the times. There he was, I have found him, found my love. I embraced him, tears streaming down my face. Virtuous love and peace shone so bright in his eyes. And he told me, love, all this time I was with you where you went. I have found my love finally, hand in hand we made our way home, reunited till the end. Love never fails, it's eternal. I have found my love finally, hand in hand we made our way home, reunited till the end. Love never fails, it's eternal. Till the end, love never fails, it's
And that is I Have Found My Love. What an epic song. I Have Found My Love. It's one of my favorite songs. I wish, I honestly, in the beginning, I wish there was more parts for the guy in the beginning, but it's just like that one part in the beginning. But the whole song is just epic. That first song we also heard was Come to the New History, a little bit more fun, and we ended off with something a little bit more deep and a little bit more, I guess, it's got more meat and weight to it. So I hope you guys enjoyed those two songs. We're going to get into our word study for today. And it's very, very interesting because, well, it's not interesting. It's just amazing because yesterday we had the Sunday message. Sunday message is just mind blowing, right? A lot of great stories, messages once again. And I just want to focus on like one or 2 points. And one point I just really love when Sunstein speaks, it's like in the beginning, there's like this, it sounds so matter of fact. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, yeah, but it's so deep if you just really think about it. Because just the very first thing right off the top, Sunstein talks about Obviously the title is Use Things Valuably, then the Holy Trinity will give you valuable things. Okay, so that's like, okay, it's great, already great title. Just from the get-go, it wasn't even the key point. Just matter of fact, but it's just basically like God is telling you what's in his heart. Like there's this entire theme he wants to talk about, but yet in that beginning part, I guess it's something else that he wants to talk in his heart. And he said, keep the Sabbath and value this day, right? Keep the Sabbath and value this day. And it was kind of just said and passed, and then it went to the actual message. Keeping the Sabbath, for us, I guess those of you that came from the former faith, it's like the fourth commandment of the 10 commandments. It's huge. It's number 4. There's only 10, and this is one of them, is keeping the Sabbath. And I thought to myself, like, wow, keeping the Sabbath is such a big thing to God. And even God rested on the seventh day. But I was looking at, because, Jews are a little bit more strict when it comes to Shabbat, right? Or like the Sabbath, right? And basically for them, it starts on Friday. A lot of them start on Friday night. Like, of course, their Sunday is Saturday, right? Their Sabbath is Saturday. But they start from Friday night. They have dinner together. And then the next day go to church. And after service, they have this supposed to be like some type of extravagant lunch, like very rich and like a long lunch. And during this lunch, people, it's not planned, but people just break out into traditional songs during lunch. And they said sometimes it can be very beautiful with the harmonies they sing, but someone just starts it and they're inspired and they just start singing. After lunch, because you can't work on the Sabbath, some of them take a nap, or a lot of them go on long walks. No TV, no cell phones, no computers, which is great. Some people actually visit hospitals or go to old age homes. And it doesn't even end there, because evening is the afternoon prayer. After that is the afternoon prayer. And then after the afternoon prayer, there's a third meal, right? A lighter meal. But the main point that people are looking at is it is about the community coming together. And this is such a great thing. And if you think about it, it's really interesting to see also for us how far we've come. But the thing that we have to look at is we've come a long way when it comes to many other different things. But the question I guess we would look at is, what do we actually do on Sunday? Right? Because Sunday is not our day. It's not my day. It's actually the Lord's day. So what does the Lord want on the Lord's day? And I think that's something that we really need to think about. If this day actually belongs to the Lord, what would he want? It's an interesting point, right? Because technically speaking, a lot of people just want to do what they want on Sunday, right? But if we were to take it a little bit more seriously, it's the Lord's day. What does the Lord want? Who does he want us to meet? What should we be doing, right? And I do think that is something, from the get-go. So as he brings it up, he says, keep the Sabbath, value that day. And I think it's something that we really need to think about also. And it's just the first thing off the top, and it wasn't even like part of the big message. The second point I wanted to get into was when in the message it's talking about what happens after God gives the word, and straight up is like, the way the message was told was amazing, because it's like you have a chance this week to really, really be blessed by the Holy Trinity, giving you something valuable, right? From the moment the word is preached at the pulpit, God begins to watch, which means right after service, who is giving thanksgiving? Who is valuing what God has already given? So what can we do, right? So what we do is we have a chance to be really blessed this week. The secret is already out. The secret to be blessed this week. He told us the secret how to be blessed. Last week, we talked about someone else being healed of lung cancer. It says this week, what is it? It is the secret to be blessed with something valuable. And there's something amazing I think all of us, we have to really think about. This is the greatest way to receive God's blessing. It is. It is a challenge for us this week, right? To get we've got the secret. So now it's all in our hands. Do you want to be blessed or not? Do you want to receive something valuable from the Holy Trinity or not? And the challenge comes out right away. Already what happened from the time service ended until now. And there's like 3 things that I got out of it. Number 1 is you need great response. Just like Pastor Joan, right? Great response. thanksgiving. Like, wow, I know some of us are may not be as vocal, but when it comes to the person we love, you want them to know how grateful. Oh, wow, that was so amazing. That you preached so well today. Oh, that point there was so good, right? The first thing we need is really great response. When we pray tonight, when you pray tonight or in the middle of the day, before you go to bed, whatever it is, we got to be thankful of all the different things that happened today. The second thing we need to do is value what you already have. What has God given you that you already have? And we have to value that. And the third thing is, now that you're told what to do, you need to do things quickly. It's already Monday, right? Monday's the first day of the week. And we've got to really put the words into action as quickly as possible. Sunzi was basically telling us, he's like, I got something valuable from the Holy Spirit, but I can't even say it to you because these things are so amazing. And then he kind of gives a hint after, kind of like, but if you don't realize it, how can I tell you? Because even if I tell you, you're not going to even know how valuable it really is. So how valuably would you use something? And the great analogy that Sunsim gave was, if you are using something that the president of your country is also using the next day, how would you use it? How valuably would you see it that you're using the exact same thing as the president, right? But how much greater is God than the president? How much greater, right? This week's message, there's just so many things to talk about it, but I think one of the great things that we need to take out is there's got to be something that is actionable, that you can do it right away. And if we talk about too many things, the problem is what? If too many things are talked about, then it's so confusing in our mind. One of the things we have to know about our brains is we are very good at focusing on one thing. That's something we're very, very good at, which means that, we shouldn't be like taking like, all right, this week I got to do this, and then I got to do this, and then I got to do this, and then the message said this, you're not going to do all of them. And because there's too many things, you're most likely not going to do any of them because it's just too much in the first place. Okay, so I hope you guys, it gave you some things to think about for this week right away. From the get-go, you got to do something, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to move to the song of choice. We have a request from Rachel in Malaysia, and this is a song that we played probably 2 months ago. Yeah, we've been around for 4 months, like almost 4 months, I think. Like, wow, we've basically been here for the entire lockdown because my very first podcast came out on the 17th of March, which is when the MCO started here in Malaysia, which is pretty crazy. So it's been 4 months. So I hope you guys have been enjoying this. We played this song maybe about 2 months ago. It's a cover of a song from Boyz II Men and Mariah Carey. It's called One Sweet Day, and it's dedicated to the people who have lost their lives, right? So this is from 4 people. I believe it's Kel, it's Bugoy, Daryl Ong, Michael, and it's featuring Katrina Velarde. And I hope that you guys enjoy this song. It's called One Sweet Day.
Sorry, I never told you all I wanted to say. Now it's too late to hold you, 'cause you've flown away so far away.
Never had I
for granted, but I always care. It's the love we share. Like so many friends we've lost along the way. The sun will never shine the same. I'll always look to a brighter day.
Lord, I know when I lay me down to sleep, you will always listen as I
Yes, we will. Once we
Sorry, I never told you all I wanted to say.
And that is One Sweet Day from this amazing group from the Philippines. It is Daryl Ong, it's Kel, Bugoy, Michael, and also featuring Christina Velarde. So man, they just rocked it. They sound like just as good. They're really, really good. And there's this young, I don't know what it is with the Philippines. They have these people with these pipes. Like they sing like crazy amazing. Like crazy, like you just heard it. It's not normal. I don't know another way to put it. It's just not normal how great they sing. So I'm a huge fan of the people over there in the Philippines, the singers, and they have like I think what's her name? Something Velasquez. Like the old school people, the old school Filipino singers. I know Leah Salonga. She sang A Whole New World, so that's how I know her. She's another Filipino like musical singer and stuff. But you got to check them out. They're so good. All right, so that moves us into the member story of the day. And today's member story is very interesting because I'm going to go into a little bit of a series, something that happened in 1999. Yeah, this is talking, like super, super long ago. And this is back in the days when I was not even 1 year in this history. But this one story I have has like 6 stories in it. So I'm going to make it a little bit of a series this week. But I want you guys to keep sending in the stories because I know people don't want to just hear my stories. We want to hear lots of stories. But the one thing I do want to bring in is like, whenever you got a story, God is talking to you. Whether you're listening to it for the first time, whether you're saying it to someone for the 10th time, there's going to be something new that God reveals to us. So they're going to go into this story, 1999, and I believe this was in August. And what happened at that time, I'm not even, I came September 22nd in 1998, and this was August 99, which means that's, we're closing it on a year, but not, it's like 10 months. And we started this global, it's called GACP, Global Association of Culture and Peace. Just amazing. Like this great vision Sunsteam had. like the Olympics, something huge, something big that can bring everyone together from other countries. They don't have to be professionals. And we started this soccer tournament. And it was very interesting because from America at that time, there was only 3 of us that went. And from the Western world, I think we were the only 3. It was me and 2 members from Hawaii. And, even my leader was telling me not to go because they knew from what they heard that Sunsteam wasn't going to be going. And the reason why they know is because at that time, no one else knew, but Sunsteam was in America at that time. He was in San Diego, like fasting for 21 days. So can you imagine this? If he's going to be in there for 21 days fasting, do you really think he's going to play soccer after? So leaders knew this, but none of us, like I'm not even a year in Providence, so I had no idea what was going on. But I was just like, I gotta go, right? It had nothing to do with going to France. Honestly, I could care less about visiting Europe. I just wanted to go see Sunsteam, right? So we ended up going, just 3 of us. We ended up in a hostel with all these other like cultural members, and I think we met maybe 5 members in that place. It was pretty crazy. And these are all worldly people, so they're drinking and they're like going out, talking about girls. Well, there's just so many different things, right? And it got to the first day opening ceremony, and they rented this like mini stadium. And honestly, like, when the way that Sunsteam said is like, oh, it's going to be like the Olympics. We got there's like total 65 people, including players. It was 4.5 teams. And I was like, whoa, right? Japan had a team, so there was 20 people there, but most of them couldn't speak English. There was a Japanese team there, and then there was like 5 German members and 2 Italian members and like 3 French members. It was so small. And then from Korea, 4 cheerleaders and 2 soccer players. So, we already heard the news like after I bought my ticket that most likely Sunsteam's not coming. So we're just like, oh, dang it, right? So now we're here at the stadium at the opening ceremony, and it is so unorganized. It is so budget. It is like no one has full uniforms. Like there's no one organizing the thing. People are just kind of scattered everywhere. And I'm like oh my gosh. So not only is Sunsteam not coming, look, it is so unorganized, so unprofessional. Even the refs don't even have uniforms. It's just this kind of a friend of a friend who's reffing, and he's like this big fat dude. His name is Michelle. Really nice guy, but it's just this tall, like beer belly dude, and he's not really a ref. So that was kind of discouraging. And as everyone's getting prepared, there was about like all of a sudden like 3 Korean members came, and it was Sunsteam's youngest brother, Yongsuk, and it was like 2 other people. And we're like, oh, cool, they're coming. And then we're just watching, but Sunsteam's not there. So they come in, they sit down, and then a little later, there's like another Korean guy coming by himself, just walking by himself. And we're all watching and looking at this guy because we're like going, no, is that him? Is that Sunsteam? No way. And we're like, that's so weird because he's wearing a hat, sunglasses, but he's walking by himself, and he's not even coming like this confident guy strutting through. He's just kind of like walking side to side, and not like, it doesn't look like there's a direction he's going. And we're like, what? Is that him? And the closer and closer he got, all of a sudden these other members are like, hey, Sunsteam's here. And we're like, what? And they're like, hey, but we don't want to weird out the cultural members, so do not crowd or take pictures and do all that other crazy stuff. We're like, oh gosh, I came all the way over here to see him, and now we see him and we can't even like look in his direction constantly, right? So it was really funny because like Sunsteam's right in front of us, but we can't look at him, right? So basically we have sunglasses on, or our heads are faced towards the soccer pitch, but our eyes are like glued on him the whole time. It was really funny because sometimes like, we want to take pictures, so we couldn't take a direct picture. So what we do is I would like have Sunsteam in the background, and get someone to take a picture of me. So it looks like they're taking a picture of me, but in the background, I purposely have something like in the background picture. And I'm like, yes. And, we're just so happy at that time. But, you can't really fully be happy because, like, he's right there in front of you. And you can't even talk to him. You can't even look at you. Like, you have to wait for him to come to you. And I'm like, I'm a member. He's not gonna come to me. He's gonna go to those cultural members first. So I was like, man, you know what we gotta do? We gotta pray. So me and the other 2 Hawaiian members were like, hey man, I know we can't see him, but you know what? Let's pray. Let's pray to meet him, right? So we went to the back of the stadium. 3 of us went to the back of the stadium, and we prayed. And this was I swear this is my prayer. My prayer was, God, I know we can't really just, go up to him and talk to him. But God, can you just give us 5 minutes? Please, just 5 minutes. And with these 5 minutes, that's all we want. Can we meet him for just 5 minutes? And then we finished our prayer, and then we went back to the field. We played games, we played soccer games, and the day was going on. Sunseam wasn't playing soccer the first day. And that day ends, and now everyone is going back to the buses to go back to the hostel, right? To the youth hostel. And we're all taking the same bus together. So we're all walking towards the bus, and it's me with my 2 friends on my right. And these 2 Hawaiian dudes are looking at me, and we're talking, and then all of a sudden their faces, like their jaws drop while they're looking at me. So I'm thinking like, man, do I got like a booger in my nose? Or like, why is your, like what's going on? And you can feel it. And I turn to my left, and it's Sunseam. I'm like, oh, and we stopped, and he looked at us, and he's like, thank you so much for coming. Work really hard, and don't make sure you don't tell anyone that I'm here. And he just started talking to us, and I am so floored because it's like so shocking. Like, we're just talking, all of a sudden he's just walking next to it. It was mind blowing. And he talks to us for like 5 minutes, and then he goes off. And we were all like, OMG. Like, we were like, it actually worked. And it was to the T, to the 5 minutes we got our 5 minutes with him. And it was crazy because he came to us, which is crazy. He came to us and he talked to us. And then he just goes off like a thief in the night, right? And we're just like, like little kids, like, oh yeah, oh my God, that was so cool. Oh, we're just talking about it the whole time, right? And we were just so happy. And I just really realized at that time, it's for better or for worse, you have to be detailed in your prayers. And for me, I'm just like, darn it, I should have prayed for like 5 hours instead of 5 minutes, right? You're like, oh darn it, I should have prayed for like, we could have ate together, we could have did this or that. God was listening. God is listening. God is listening to your prayers, and he's going to answer them. Right? When the time comes, he's going to answer them. And I think it's something that we all have to know, that even right now, during the time of the coronavirus, during the time of the locusts, during the time of Hong Kong protests, where China's trying to take over the irreparable relationship here with like the WHO and with Taiwan. We have social injustice in America, Brazil. Like, just so many things going on, and we really have to think about this and understand that our prayers, they do matter. If God is going to answer just that small prayer, how much more will he answer the more important and greater prayers? God is listening, so I really hope that all of us here too will realize how important our prayers truly are. Don't give up on them. Don't think it's not going to happen. Prayers are meant to be answered by God. So I really hope that all of us too don't give up, but keep praying, and keep praying. Wow. So I hope you guys really enjoyed that testimony. And actually, that's only part 1, because it continues. And there's a reason why I said be careful what you ask for better or for worse, right? There's a reason. And I'm going to do part 2 of this testimony tomorrow. All right. So I hope that all of you are going to have a wonderful Monday. Do it together with the Lord. No matter what happens, it's fine. We got to do it. We got to get our hearts and our minds just really fixed and thinking about what we can do to value the things that God gives us. And we have to give that strong response to the Lord so the Holy Trinity gives us something even more valuable. Everyone, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you again on Tuesday on the Morning Star Drive on 117.8.
To make this life a wonderful adventure.
You wanna make it happen? Don't ever back down from the challenge ahead of you. Gotta keep your head up.